Pecha Kucha 172, preparing my Fivesquid storyboards. So like I said last week, the idea this year, one of the core things I want to do is be on Fiverr, Fivesquid, Upwork, or the gig economy as it's called, putting out storyboards. I've got some old ones, I wanted to tart them up, so I thought I'm going to use the same template. I'm just going to look at the scruffy line work, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to tighten up the line work, split the storyboard between a lined version and a shaded version, charge two different prices for those things. Nothing crazy, until I sat down and started doing and realized it was very crazy. So I've still got all the older assets I had from the first time I did this. When I did it in my first year at university. The original storyboards, reference images I grabbed from Google, and the reference images the people who sent the script provided as well. And as I was going through them, I realized I really took it pretty easy the first time I did this. So for the first two panels, all I was doing was just literally making the artwork less scruffy. I just went in with the darker pencil tool in Clip Studio Paint, traced the original pictures, and then by the third panel, where I'm drawing like a mid shot of an ostrich, while looking at a reference of the ostrich, I'm thinking it doesn't really look that much like an ostrich. I could put some work in here. Is this what I came here to do? I guess kind of, but really I don't know. I'm only intending to charge £5 a page here. And then it's okay. Here come the trucks down the road. I start drawing the wheel of the truck, and I find circles. I want to do them freehand, but I find that it's faster to dump out a bunch of vector shapes. But then I find I'm actually drawing an actual wheel, and this is way more work than I want to put in. And actually, I wouldn't have even been comfortable doing this if I hadn't been doing the logo design stuff in Illustrator. I couldn't have done this last year with the speed I did it this year. And honestly, I only half did the wheel. There's quite a lot of shapes I left off. But every time I start using vectors, it drains my desire to continue producing art because it doesn't feel like art. And then I move on to the next panel, trucks coming through the dust, going down the road. And looking at the original picture I'm tracing, I'm like, the perspective of these trucks doesn't quite make sense. One of them's about to drive off the road. Maybe they're coming around a corner. Sure, you can get away with it, once. And it helps when the line work is rough as well. Second page, the military convoy jeep at the front with the main characters. And I'm trying to not use vectors, but I'm drawing a vehicle, and I kind of have to, but then I do the roof freehand because using the arc line tools is even more work. And I'm trying to keep this modestly fast, but I'm also using reference imagery that's not the same angle as the vehicles I'm drawing. So I'm doing a front view using a 3/4 view picture of a jeep. I can do the maths in my head, but again, this is like setting myself up to fail. If this is going to be straightforward, I'm going about this the wrong way. And then as I'm drawing the jeeps driving into the horizon, it's a 1-point perspective shot, and the trucks are not in 1-point perspective properly. And I'm like, snap. If this is about being professional, I can't just tart up the line work. I have to kind of redraw it. And then I get to the second half, and it's time to start drawing people's faces, the military uniform the soldiers are wearing. I've got one picture that I haven't used at all really for reference, and I'm just like, you know what, this is effectively like drawing it from scratch. And I kind of just tapped out, and that was my Monday. Before I tapped out, I did think, I did say I was going to grayscale these up. Surely that won't be too difficult. But what it is starting with the background where I've got no real sense of the values. And honestly, I've never really been comfortable using values, grayscale in Manga Studio. Or in general, how do I pick my light from my dark? So in terms of trying to make things easier going forward, I went on SketchUp to see if I could just get random 3D models of stuff, because that's what Marvel artists use. And I googled Jeep, and I found a Jeep, and it's like, okay, so now I can use this in conjunction with, taking JPEGs and having other reference to figure out how to keep this simple. They've got guns. So SketchUp is going to be really helpful for, if I'm doing storyboards, they're going to be action things, guns and city landscapes, vehicles, there isn't that many there aren't that many variables to what your average person would want to make a film about. They've even got SketchUp is kind of for backgrounds and stuff. It's for buildings, and I just googled warehouse or searched in SketchUp for warehouse and found a warehouse interior. I think it's the exterior as well, and this would be very helpful in figuring out as direct reference and perspective as well, how to do these things without having to spend the rest of my life constructing architecture. I found some form of character model, but I do feel like it's probably more of a mannequin that can't be posed. My knowledge of using SketchUp is extremely limited, but if it came to using character models, I'd probably just use Manga Studio, because it's got a much more user-friendly model posing thing. Its user-friendliness kind of falls off when it's like, yeah, but I would like something with different proportions. And it's like, well, you can go to Clip Studio Paint's website. They've got assets you can get for free or for points or money. I don't know what the system is, but you search for things and you kind of... It sounds like a crapshoot. Where SketchUp's search, I literally spent a minute in both, and SketchUp just gave me what I was looking for. I wasn't looking for anything too specific, but there you go. So that's my storyboard situation. So sad clown of the week. There's this guy called Ethereal Snake. I just came across on YouTube who does these really dark short animations using pop culture characters, but they're just, he uses like 80s synth music and just bad things happen. Like this one is Mickey Mouse was at Nam and he's going home and he has this flashback about Goofy being dead, and then he kills himself. It's grim, and they're all like this. Another one is like Thomas the Tank Engine's on trial for his part in the Nuremberg massacres in World War II. And it's like they're animated. It's clearly just one guy. His direction is pretty good. The music really brings it all together, and then the somber tone, and then the 80s video editing stuff where things are kind of blocky and you've got like the video film flickering stuff going on. It's great. It's either for you or it isn't. It's for me. I'm very strongly considering actually supporting this guy on Patreon. As soon as I start making money from art, because that's the plan this year, I would like to start giving back to the people who give things to me. So what I intend to do the rest of the day today is actually take what I've got, just whack it on Fivesquid, because I can update as I go forward. And I think the most important thing when running a business is to actually fucking be in business. So we'll try that. We'll see if that's what I can say this time next week. So I will see you next time. That's the end of Pecha Kucha 172.